It's Wednesday, that means it's DeFi Wednesday. Let's take a look at some DeFi charts. Start with the DeFi perp today. This is an index of a bunch of DeFi stuff on FTX. And previously, I'd been talking about the excessive bearish sort of downward consolidation here and the need for bullish consolidation here. And we basically got a mirror image of that. We hit the 200 2 or 3 times. We hit it very cleanly 3, 4, 5, 6 times here, and off it went. So this is generally showing a picture of strength, obviously, across all of DeFi realm. Unsurprisingly, I mean, this perp is at an all-time high here, but volume is also at an all-time high. It's not a buy for me up here, certainly. It's not a short either, but it definitely shows collective strength. Bitcoin dominance sort of peaked around 73%, dropped extremely hard on the pop on Ethereum over the past week, and a few other things. Stellar. I mean, virtually everything's up 30, 60, 90% over the past week. I don't think this bullishness in Bitcoin dominance is going to go away anytime soon, but it definitely needed to retrace. In a vacuum, this is going to mean revert because it's overbought. So it could even mean revert as low as 65, 64 and still be fine on bull trend. So I think the Bitcoin bullishness is intact. I think what we're seeing here is a lot of catch-up trading, rotation trading, Bitcoin just going sideways and people looking for trades elsewhere. We start with Link USD on the daily. Pitchfork has shown us the way quite cleanly here. Sell zone, buy zone, sell zone, buy zone. Hit the 200 here, hit the yearly pivot. I mean, there's tons of confluence, Pitchfork 200 yearly pivot for support here. So it's no surprise that this bounced and is on its way up. Honestly, we could see $50 Link within a half year, May, July, something like that. Certainly the expectation based on the median line is 50, 60 by July. So that looks great as far as a long play, longer term play. Most of these other charts are shorter term plays. Here's AAVE at all-time highs. Actually looks fine for a buy. You can measure this out as a inverted cup and handle, not inverted, but a cup and handle. You can look at it from the cloud perspective. You're getting your bullish Kumo breakout all the way back here, and TK lines are close together. Cloud's starting to curl up. So all this looks like it wants more, and I would just look to these yearly pivots as far as upside. You can also measure the 1618, 2618 Fibonacci extensions from this high to this low or this high to this low, and that will most likely find plenty of resistance targets. I mean, there's lots on the way up right already. So I think AAVE, although it was up 10,000% or something last year, it's looking like it's going to start another strong year in 2021. Here's Uni, and similar to the DeFi perp, I mean, this to me is a move that already has happened and done, and you're seeing that with the overextension here as well as bearish divergence. So you're getting a series of higher highs on less momentum. You have a TKC clamp here. It's way beyond the inverted head and shoulders sort of measured move. Everything is still bullish. It's just not a buy for me. I missed the train, right? I don't want to jump on a train that's headed in the wrong direction. So support's down here around 480. And most likely this year, it'll probably bounce between 480 and 9. Extremely wide range there. This is on the 6 hour, so it'll see a lot of action, over the next few weeks as far as entries, but anything near 5 looks like a great entry. It just doesn't look like a long trade right now. SNX, same story. It had this inverted head and shoulders, and shoulder, 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 head, shoulder, 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 horizontal breakout, bullish Kumo breakout, double bottom, whatever you want to call this. In hindsight, it all looks great as far as bullish continuation. I like 9 as far as Kijun support. Again, the move already happened, so for me, it's done. You might get a higher high and less momentum here on a bear div, maybe to the R3 at around 17, but that's not a long trade for me. Curve, this one looks better as far as entries are concerned. On the 12 hour, Cloud looks like it wants to flip over the next few days. It's headed above this support resist level at 0.85. So anything above 0.85 is probably good for bullish continuation. You can always measure this out, but there's plenty of monthly pivots here. That's what I have on this one. Whenever there's not enough data to look at the yearly pivots, you can just lean on the lower time frame pivots. So anything between 1 and 2 is fair game as far as near-term upside targets there. UMA, massive AAVE. I mean, this is like ultra distorted, but very clearly a V and a U, kind of crazy. Definitely a double bottom here. I like upside. Cloud likes it for upside. Pivots at 12 and 16. And that's what I'll be watching in the very near term over the next few weeks for UMA. That's the 6 hour. Here's YFI on the 4 hour. It looked like it wanted to break down last week. Tried extremely hard to do so and just couldn't. And now we're back here with bullish 5200 cross above the yearly pivot, above VPVR support, monthly pivot, sorry. So I don't know where this goes from here as far as massive upside, but it looks like it likes this range at the moment, and it's not at risk for massive downward pressure like it was in late 2019. Comp USD, much like UMA, kind of early-ish in the move. Cloud likes it. Everything's just flipping bullish. It's making a higher high here, no bear div. Pivots to the upside around 190, 230, 280. That's what I'd be watching if this gets carried away, which it historically likes to get carried away with its bullishness. Here's REN, which has just been ranging for months and months and months. On the 12 hour, it's currently back above the 200 period moving average, back above the cloud, back above all this volume stuff. So again, upside targets are right here for you. And then monthly pivots, 42, 52, 62 cents, which would probably be an all-time high. Serum finally found some strength. It was difficult to predict that just based on this gobbledygook here. I'd probably bump this up to the 6 hour. This is a 4 hour, but yeah, I mean, the cloud liked it and the 200 liked it, but it liked it a bunch of times and didn't go anywhere. Massive support to at one, or resistance at 175. So I don't really think there's a bunch of upside here at the moment, and it's kind of in a no trade zone, just stuck between volume support resist. Algo USD, again, a trade that's already happened. The train has left the station and reached its destination. You have your edge-to-edge trade. You have your inverted head and shoulders, shoulder, 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 head, two-headed head and shoulder, two-headed multi-shouldered head and shoulders. Shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. It's above the 200, back into the cloud here, and it hit where it should have hit, which is the other edge of the cloud, as well as the measured move in 16618 fib extension. So this, for me, is done, and I'd trade other stuff. I mean, the move happened. You either got it or you didn't. Here's band, kind of late stage, very similar move to this inverted head and shoulder situation. You know, I had this broad shoulder here that did eventually curl up. I still like 10 to 1050, somewhere in there as far as targets, but this is probably too late to enter at that point as well. Dot, again, you're seeing a rising wedge, bearish divergence, TKC clamp, support all the way down at 780. So that's a no trade for me. You were either in that one or you weren't. And adding up here is dangerous. So I think you get the hint here. Most of these charts have already moved or are in the later stages of their move. Here's one that hasn't moved, which is Kava on the daily at the 200 at the cloud resistance. I wouldn't expect an edge to edge necessarily all the way up to 350 at this point or whatever this is, but this will probably be somebody's rotation trade at this point, just because it hasn't really outperformed much of anything else. It has moved up quite a bit, but it hasn't really outperformed anything. Here's Sushi. It had that rising wedge that sort of lost momentum reset, and it had this bullish 6 hour Kumo breakout. This one looks okay for an entry as far as longs are concerned, but again, you always want to buy at support, right? It's tough to want to add at a multi-week high, basically. So unless you're super confident that this has strength, bids around 250, basically. You can see this confluence of support between the cloud, the 200, the monthly pivot, and the 6 hour Kijun here. So, and the psychological support. So tons of stuff at 250 as far as entries are concerned. Not really a long trade there for me. Bzrx last week, I was talking about this weird like sickle falling wedge thing that had a bullish div on it, did break up, and it looks like it's going to twist bullish on the 4 hour cloud as well. So this probably has more upside, more so than most of these other coins, just because trend is fresh, and it was, you know, bearish while everything else was bullish. And now I think more than anything, it's just another rotation trade. So I like 27, I like 40 cents, you know, all the monthly pivots on the way up is what I'd be watching here. No real secret to that. BNT, again, another trade that is long since gone. Inverted head and shoulders all over the place here. So many fractals of inverted head and shoulders that have all played out at this point. So if you're in it for the long term, if you're a community member here on Bancor, you're hoping for a bullish daily Kumo breakout, which pretty much is the case at this point. Probably a bullish 5200 cross as well. So this kind of reminds me of Bzrx on the 4 hour. It's a fresh trend flip that you expect continuation, and it is a decent spot for a buy here. And lastly, looking at RSR, absolute moonshot, very clearly bear div here, higher high in price on lower momentum. So again, this train has left the station. So all that goes back to the DeFi perp. I mean, if you use some sort of index or indices or group of coins that you trust for signals, and you set your parameters and your gauge around this indice or whatever you're using, you know, it makes sense that all these charts are late stage bull ready to roll over. I mean, there's even a bear div here as well. So this was helpful. Stay safe in DeFi land. A lot of stuff is overbought, frothy here. And to me, rollover, some mean reversion is more likely than continuation for most of these charts.